Greetings and welcome. Jake from Wellness here, and I'm about to take you through a little overview in relation to the processes of rejuvenation. But before I do that, I would like to paint an analogy to help you to appreciate the value of this knowledge, because it is critically important for all humans to understand this, how the body and mind actually operate. To do that, I'm going to create an analogy with a computer system. I'm sure you've owned perhaps a Mac or a PC before, and you've been trying to do something, such as on a Word document on a PC. That's very common. You want to create a document to write something, or a photograph software where you're going to alter some images, and you don't know how to achieve what you want to achieve. You know what you want to do, but you just don't know how to do it within the software system. It's incredibly frustrating, and then of course you have to trawl through the forums on the internet with all of these endless questions and answers as to how to go about this process. Invariably, you're not able to call up someone such as an expert that can help you and talk you through it. And this can be really irritating and feel like you're really wasting a lot of time. I'm sure you can relate to that. Now, this issue is arising because simply you don't know how to handle the software properly, and so you don't know how to get the system to work as you want it to work. There is a direct correlation here between a computer operating system and the human mind-body system as well. You see, within the brain there are certain sets of software, we could say programs, that are operating through the hardware of the physical body. If we don't know how to run those software systems effectively, what we'll find is that problems will arise within our systems. And this we refer to as illness, disease, dysfunction, pain, and so forth. So as you can imagine, it's pretty important to understand how to run the system effectively if you want to not only avoid these things, but if you want to be able to utilize your system to the highest possible extent, which will of course result in you being the most successful in your life. That being said, let's move along with a greater appreciation as to the value of this knowledge. Now, I've put all of that under the heading of rejuvenation because if you can revive your body to a very youthful and vitalized state, it's going to naturally function effectively, isn't it? So let's have a deeper look into what rejuvenation specifically is. Here's a dictionary definition: to make young again, to restore to a youthful vigor and appearance. Here's another definition: to restore to a former state, make fresh or new again. So let's just take a moment to appreciate that possibility. I'm sure those of a younger demographic will perhaps not appreciate this as much as those of an older, more mature demographic, but when you've been living in this mind-body system for a while, you have probably been through processes where you've either become injured, or something's become painful, or something is not working very well. In other words, you're manifesting some sort of discomfort, illness, ailment, or disease. As soon as you have one of these problems arising, you will really appreciate being able to restore your system to a previous state, a former state, to make fresh or new again, right? So let's have a look at why we would want to do that. Now, I've just kind of touched on some self-evident things, but more specifically, I'm going to break this down into a really simple way to look at it. You see, when we're moving through life and you are responding to the environment, you are going to be responding in one of two different ways. The bodily stimulations are either going to be enhancing your life. These are called regenerative, such as eating healthy food, which assists your system to function effectively, or they're going to be degenerative in their effect upon the body, which is really going to actually accelerate the process of death. Now, that might seem very dramatic, but if you think about it, it's very simple, isn't it? It's like a bank account. You're either putting something in or you're taking it out. And all of the choices that we make either enhance our systemic function or degrade it. Think about that for a moment. So the degenerative choices that we make can lead to the ailments, the illness, the injury, disease, and accelerating aging that, of course, we want to avoid. But do we know how we're contributing to that with our choices? Good question to contemplate, isn't it? On the opposite side of that, if we're making pro-life choices, these will promote the opposite: good health, high energy levels, positive moods, and overall higher functionality. So of course, by rejuvenating our body, by choosing those pro-life choices, you can overcome disease, you can achieve far more enjoyable life, because of course your mood will be elevated because your system is functioning more effectively, and moreover you can fulfill your highest life potential, because when your brain and body are working at their highest, you will function at your best and you will achieve most highly as a result of that. So how specifically to rejuvenate? That is the question, isn't it? Of course, you'll have people in various different systems of expertise in relation to the human body, and this is why this is a little ambiguous, a little difficult to pin down as to what we need to do, because experts specialize in a particular area rather than having an overall view. Now, what we're going to attempt to do here is to look at the entire human mind-body system here and identify just 4 simple categories that we can look at if we are to, 1, overcome the dysfunction within the system, and 2, rise it to its highest potential function, right? That's easy enough, isn't it? We can handle 4 elements. So let's have a look at this. The 4 primary elements are the physical on the left here, referring to mainly the musculoskeletal structure, but of course also the organs, if we're really talking about what is physical, and we'll go on to talk about that further. We'll talk about the biochemistry, which is by definition of course physical as well, but the reason we're breaking this up into different categories is because you can make a distinctive observation of different levels of density within the system. What I'm going to refer to as physical is going to be what is solid to touch. What I'm going to refer to as biochemical is what is going to be fluid to touch, and we'll discuss that a little further as we move along. If you look further into the body, you'll see that there is an electrical component. Just like motors have electricity moving through it, all of our technology has electricity moving through it. If the electricity ceases to operate, then you'll find that you have problems with the technology or the machinery that you are trying to operate. It's not different within the human body. The electricity needs to meet the various areas of the body correctly for communication to effectively take place and for your system to operate well. Now, the last component is what is referred to as subtle energy, and that is the electromagnetic energy within the system that gives rise to the electrical, the biochemical, and physical processes. Okay, that being said, let's now move on to the physical elements and look a little more depth into that which operates and influences the way that we move physically.